Hello everybody and welcome to Expert Examiner IELTS live stream. Now, the last two times that I went live, at the beginning I was talking to myself. I was sitting here, I wasn't live, but I thought I was live. And so I was talking, giving my usual introduction, asking people if they could hear me and so on. And of course, nobody was there. So now I'm curious to see if I'm actually live or not. Have I finally worked out how to use the internet at the age of 42? If you can hear me, please do let me know. I'm starting a little bit late because I had some technical problems. I don't even have the chat up at the moment, so I'm going to pull the chat up and see if I'm live.
Worked out
How to use the internet. Certainly seems that I am. Just bear with me one moment. I need to learn how to pop out the chat. Okay, I am live. People can say that they can hear me, but I can't see how to pop out the chat. Curious. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The important thing is we are live. I hope my connection is okay. I hope I'm audible. Still definitely need to find out how I can monitor the chat without just using my phone. But yeah, this was done kind of in a mad rush. I didn't stream yesterday because I had things to do, and I was thinking probably I shouldn't stream today because I have so many things to do. But I decided, I would find a couple of hours and try to make it work. So here we are. I won't waste too much time with the introduction. I will just make a point and say, look out for an interesting video coming soon where I do some IELTS speaking task 1 practice with ChatGPT. Many of you might already use ChatGPT, but the thing with ChatGPT is that it's designed to be conversational. So in its speaking part, it's designed to back up its, when you give an answer, it says things like, oh, that's great, that's a wonderful experience, like a conversation, not like an interview. So I've been doing some experimenting with ChatGPT to try to make it into an examiner. And I have to say, I'm quite impressed with some of the results. So that's pretty cool. So watch out for a video coming soon. If you want to try the prompt, check out my Telegram channel. I have pasted it there. I'd be very interested to see what you guys think of this. Don't ask ChatGPT for any feedback because it just can't give any really meaningful feedback, but it can maybe be used as an examiner that can ask you some questions. All right, I won't waste too much of your time with this stuff at the beginning. I'm going to jump straight, I think, into inviting the first candidate. But again, just bear with me just for a moment while I try to pop out this chat. You might not know what I mean when I say to pop out the chat. That's okay. Let's see. Pop out chat. Ooh, amazing. So hopefully I can close this page. Nope, I can't do that. Doesn't matter. Just bear with me again a moment and I will pop out the chat. Maybe while I'm doing that. Oh no, I have popped out the chat. While I'm fixing stuff my side, I'm going to put some stuff in the Telegram just to say I'll read it as I'm writing it. People have already started writing saying, let's see, I'll be very much grateful to you, dear sir, if I get a chance to evaluate my speaking. Candidates are selected at random. It doesn't matter, like, cool if you'd be grateful, but if some people say this because they hope they can convince me to give them the chance. Candidates are selected at random, so it doesn't matter if you say, please, please, please choose me, and it doesn't matter if you say, I have my test tomorrow, or it doesn't matter if you say, I've been watching your videos for a long time. All of that stuff is nice and cool, but to make it fair, candidates are selected at random. Even in the chat now, people say, can I be... Ooh, Azamat says, in my experience, it can help with spotting some pronunciation mistakes. Well, it can... but it doesn't, it doesn't measure your intonation, and I've done a lot of testing with ChatGPT to measure to see if it can read intonation. It can't. All it does is it listens to your voice and it converts it into text and it analyzes the text. It doesn't pick up on intonation at all. So it can't give meaningful feedback on intonation. But I'll talk more about ChatGPT in the future. Again, some candidate says, can I? Well, I'm going to put this. Yep. Is it happening here or in Telegram? In Telegram. So at the moment, I'm writing in Telegram right now. Hi, folks. If you are watching the live stream, never know if live stream is one word or if it's two words. I've seen it both ways. If you're watching the live stream right now and you'd like to be the first speaking candidate, please reply to this message with one response, e.g. me, or interested. One winner. Okay, tests take place on Zoom. It's an important thing. Last week we had a problem where somebody didn't have their Zoom set up and they missed the opportunity. Tests do take place on Zoom. So if you're selected as the winner and you don't have Zoom installed and then we have to wait 10 minutes, you're not going to get your test. But I have just sent this to the Telegram. The interesting thing about doing this is that when you send things to the Telegram during the live stream, about 4 days later, somebody replies with me. Which is interesting. Also, poor Islam asked if I could do the live stream earlier because this time is too late for him. It's always amazing that people feel this entitled. People feel like they can choose the time that will be convenient for me. I do try to make it at a convenient time for people in Uzbekistan, for people in Bangladesh, but you should also consider that the time has to be convenient for me too, because I have other things to do in my life. Let's see how many people have broken the rule of you should only write one response. Oh, nobody's broken that rule. Amazing. Wow. Oh, too many. So many people today. Okay, because we've had so many responses, I'm going to need to use my randomizer for this. Okay, random number generator. So at the moment we have, let's see, 23 comments. So I'm going to choose a number between 1 and 23. This is done on a computer. I can't show you right now, but it is done on a computer. Just click it a few times, close my eyes, leave it go. The number is number 16. So whoever is 16th will get this, will be the first one. Let's see who is 16. 1, 2. And the winner is someone called Amit. I think Amit has been on the test, has had a writing check before and has had a speaking check before. Wow. Amit, you're a lucky guy. Today is your lucky day. You've been randomly selected to be today's candidate. The score that I gave him before was 6.5. So let's see if he can improve on this. Amit, I'm just writing to you now on Telegram. Just writing to you now on Telegram. Hey, you can join me here. Cool. So we'll give him a few minutes and we'll see if he comes. I'm just going to close down a couple of tabs just because bandwidth and all of that stuff. And I do apologize to those people who don't win, because it must be frustrating when you put your name in many times and you don't win. So many people in the YouTube chat are saying me, how to connect you. Look at the video description where it says that candidates will be chosen from my Telegram channel. You have to be in the Telegram channel. If you're not, then I can't, there's no way that you can take part if you're not on the Telegram channel, because I can't write to you, right? So, yeah. So still waiting for Amit. While I do that, I'm just going to look through the chat to see if there's anything there. People like Najmid Khojamkulov, you're not going to get selected because you keep spamming the chat with me many times. Please don't do this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Writing me 9 times is gonna make me think, okay, you're annoying, you're trying to cheat, you're trying to overload. The Telegram channel is the place where you should put your name forward, and there should be one response so that it's equal for all people. Amit has seen my... Oh no, I don't know if he's seen. Oh, he's entered the Zoom chat. So let's welcome Amit. He's joining and he should be with us any second now. Any second now. I guess he's hiding the camera with his finger like this. Omid, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Your microphone is muted. I still can't hear you. This happened on last week's live stream too. For some reason, the candidate had problems with audio. Don't know why. We'll give Omid a few minutes to see if he can fix it. While he's doing that, I'll just make sure that I have the test ready. And I'll make sure that I have the part 2 ready. Kind of difficult to arrange this online where the candidate can see the part 2 and the viewers can see the part 2. Hi, Amit. Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me?
I can, but I can't see you.
Oh, I see now. So it has 2 different interface. One is for speaking, another is for video.
I still can't see you though.
Yes, that's what I said. When I'm speaking, now I'm going to change and
Now your microphone is muted. I'll just give you, Amit, I'll give you 1 more minute to try to fix these issues. If you can't fix these issues, then I'll have to ask you to leave and we'll have to call another candidate because I can't do the test if I can't see you and hear you, obviously.
it's not available here.
I can hear you now, but I can't see you.
Exactly. Both of them are not running at the same time.
Yeah, Omid, you can explain your technical problems, that's fine, but I need to see you and I need to hear you. Give you about 30 seconds more to fix it. Remember, as candidates, it is your responsibility to make sure that your technology works, right? So you need to make sure that you have a camera that works. You need to make sure that you have a microphone that works. You need to make sure that you have an internet connection that works. Without those things, obviously, it's not going to work. Okay, Omid, unfortunately, because of your technical issues, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave and I'm going to select another candidate. I will ask you to leave voluntarily because if you don't leave... Okay, candidate has left. Cool. Sorry about that, Omid. It happens. Sometimes people have connection problems. That's life. I'm going to go back in from the first 23. I'm going to select another candidate at random. It will only be from the first 23 comments because I know there are other comments that were added afterwards. The next number is number 3. Let's see who number 3 is. So number 3 is somebody called Yosinbek. So congratulations to Yosinbek. You have now been selected as the next candidate. And let's see if you have a connection that works, because a couple of times now, last week we had one. Hey, you can join me here. I don't know if any of you have ever live streamed, but it's weird, it's stressful, because on the one hand you're trying to communicate with your audience, and then on the other hand you're checking to make sure that the volume is okay, that the picture is okay, that I use a program called OBS and it has different scenes, and at the same time you have to make sure that your speaking tests are available and easy to see, and then you have to contact the winning candidates and try to get them up on Zoom, and then you have to wait for them, and then sometimes they have connection problems. It's really a lot to handle at the same time. Somebody says, how is it possible to get selected? Check the description. I've put a link to my Telegram channel. That's where that's where candidates are selected. Zoom did not give me permission, says Yosinbek. Okay, so I'll give Yosinbek another 45 seconds to connect. If he can't connect, then I will choose another person. Maybe somebody can translate. Somebody says, and I guess it's in Uzbek, Kim Tanlandi Endi Bola. Does it mean something nice? I have a feeling it might not be something nice. Let's see. I think he is saying, I have only a phone if I use... Okay. What he's saying, Jasur Amadov, isn't like maybe he has a good explanation for why it doesn't work. That's fine, but that's not my issue, right? That's the candidate's issue. Yosin is here, so let's see if Yosin is able to connect. Hello, Yosin. Can you hear me okay? Because I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Amazing. So, I'm really pleased that I have a candidate finally. Before we start our speaking test, can you just tell us something about yourself? Like, what's your name? Where are you from? And what are your, I know your name. Where are you from? And what are your plans regarding IELTS?
Well, my full name is Sabir Yosunbek. You can call me Yosunbek, and I'm from Uzbekistan, as you know. And I am planning to take IELTS like next year in January.
Why are you taking IELTS? Is it to help you like with the job, or to help you with studying, or just for your own pleasure?
To get into university.
Cool. What score do you need to get into university?
I think 6 and 6.5 is okay, but I really want to get 7 at least.
And how are you preparing for the test at the moment?
Well, I'm I'm going to a language center nearby my home, so I'm preparing there.
And what do you do in your lessons? Do you learn grammar and vocab? Do you do exam preparation? Do you do like practice tests?
Now we are mostly doing practice tests because I think we learned a lot of grammar and words, so we just do listening practice, reading, and every lesson before we start we do some speaking.
Okay, cool. All right, so you're probably familiar with the format of this IELTS test, right? So in the speaking test, there are 3 parts in total. The first part, it's an interview, personal questions, all about you, like how often do you do something? When did you last do something? What are you going to do in the future? Part 2, we go into a long turn where you have to talk about a topic for 2 minutes. I'll share the topic with you in the Zoom chat. So check the Zoom chat. That's where you can find the topic. It's not there right now, but it will be in part 2. I will give you a bit of time to find that topic when we get to part 2. But just to remind you, you will have 1 minute to prepare in part 2. I can see you've already reached for a pen and paper. Do you have a pen and piece of paper with you? Yeah. Cool.
Mm.
And then after part 2, we go straight into part 3. Part 3 is a discussion about like more abstract topics. So the questions in part 3 are not about you, when did you last, how often do you do it, but it's like, why do some people do this, or some people say this? Do you agree or do you disagree? So it's more of a discussion in part 3. We don't expect you to be an expert on topics. You don't need to have like specialized knowledge in anything. We're just looking to see if you can speak meaningfully on a topic. Many candidates do try to force in language, so they think about some nice bits of grammar or nice bits of vocabulary they use and they try to force them in. In my experience, this always sounds bad, but candidates still always try to do it. IELTS is an English language test. It just measures your ability to use English. It can't be hacked. There are no secret tips and tricks that can get you a high score. Examiners will ask you questions, you will answer the questions, and the examiner will decide what your speaking level is. But do you have any questions before we start our test?
No, I don't have any.
All right, cool. So let's get going then. So, good evening. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My full name is Sabir Yosenbek, but you can call me Yosenbek.
Sorry, what can I call you?
Yosenbek.
Okay, thank you.
Yosenbek.
Thank you, Yosenbek. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Where do you live?
I live in a small town called Charihan. It is in Andijan province. So yeah, it's not very big.
And what do you like about living in this place?
Well, actually, I love people here. They are always nice. When you talk to them, they are like just very genuine. And I talk a lot of people in Charihan, even those whom I don't know.
And what do young people do in their free time in your hometown?
Well, there are a lot of activities. It depends on their personalities, I think. But I and my friends really enjoy playing Counter Strike 2
Why?
because it is really interesting. The graphics are really cool, so we could easily spend hours playing this game.
All right, let's move on and talk about traveling now. Do you like traveling?
Yeah, I love traveling, especially abroad because I can learn about different culture and their habitats, their traditions. So it's a really enjoyable activity.
And what's the best place you've visited?
Hmm, well, the best place is I think it should be Dubai because it's very cosmopolitan, and then it's like a Islamic country. There are a lot of people from different backgrounds, so I love there. I love to be there. I think I will travel again.
And do you prefer traveling alone or with other people?
Well, I prefer to be with my friends while traveling because I can share a lot of memorable moments with them, and they always make me laugh hard when I'm traveling with them. So I prefer to be with my friends rather than to be alone.
And how often do you travel?
Well, not as much as I want because I travel 2 times a year at most. So it's not a lot, but I think it's kind of enough for me at this age.
Mhm. Let's talk about laughing now. What kinds of things make you laugh?
As I said, my friend is, and also I really enjoy watching comedies, comedy movies. I could I could laugh for hours by watching some comedy movies such as Rush Hour. They are really funny.
And does your country have any famous comedians?
Hmm. Well, there is one stand-upper. His name is, I think, Moshakar, and he does a lot of stand-up. So I enjoy watching him.
Mhm. And do you think you are good at making other people laugh?
I think I am because when I am with my friends or with my family, I can make some jokes that makes them laugh.
What kind of jokes?
It depends on the moment. Like when they talk about their childrens, I would make some jokes about them. Or when I'm friends, I make fun of my friends. It's kind of not good, but still appropriate with my friends, and it's like funny.
And do you ever share funny pictures or memes with your friends?
Yeah, I always do. There is one friend who's really keen on this stuff, the meme videos, and I always share with him different meme videos.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you'll have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Mhm. I will now share the topic with you in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
Can you see the topic?
Yep.
I'd like you to describe a time when you tried something for the first time. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you'll have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay, sure. Now I would like to tell about the time when I uh, played chess for the first time. It was a couple of years ago when I was studying in a group, and there was I think 6 or 7 boys in a group, and the one day the teacher was absent, and after the lesson, they started playing chess. Until that day, I wasn't familiar with chess, and I didn't know how to play it. So when I saw them playing chess, they seemed very interested, and they were discussing moves and position. So I just got a feeling that I should try it because it was kind of intellectual game, and I love the games that in which I should use my brain. So I decided to give a shot and learn it. The day the one of my group mates taught me how to play it. The teacher taught me how the pawns moves, how the bishop moves, and all the stuff about chess. So I learned it at home. I watched some videos, and next day I played with them again. And the first time I lost the game very quickly. It was a very quick game, but I wasn't ashamed or felt shy because of how fast I lost, because it was new for me and I was learning new thing. Um, it seemed difficult at first because, as I said, I didn't know how to move a
Okay,
pawn,
thank
and
you. Thank you. So you've been talking about this time when you tried playing chess for the first time. Let's talk a little more about taking risks and fear. How do fear and risk influence people's decision making?
well, I think they have a great influence when it comes to people's decision, because most people take their like steps back because of the fear, or they don't want to risk, and it's really hard for someone who has a fear of doing something risky. But I think people should try to overcome their fear and try new things.
Hmm. And what kinds of things do people often decide not to do because of fear or risk?
Well, some people don't want to try doing the extreme sports because they are risky, and they don't want to be like have a broken arm or leg. So they just don't want to try sports which are extreme, like quad biking or mountain climbing.
And can you think of any instances where people avoid like non-physical activities?
Well, this can be well, like choosing a studying abroad, because usually graduates have two choices: to study in their country or another country abroad. But some people choose to stay in their country and study there because of their fear.
And what might people be afraid of about studying abroad?
Well, the first, they are not familiar with the culture and the people in other countries, and they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. And also, they don't feel independent. They have a parent, they have a family members whom they can share moment their problems. And in other countries, it's really difficult to find a friend. So they don't want to study in other countries because of these reasons.
Hmm. And do you think people today are more or less willing to take risks than people in the past were?
Well, I think compared to the past, people now, I think, more reluctant to take risks because, there are a lot of fake news, and like social media influence people's decision, and they are now fear to take risks, because when someone watch somebody died because of doing extreme sports, they will never do that sport again in
Mhm.
their entire life. So I think they are less willing to do it.
Let's move on and talk about learning through experience now. Is learning through experience more effective than learning from books?
Absolutely, because when people learn, when they do something, when they experience something, the experience, I think, teach a lot, and more than any book, because they feel the moment, they feel the vibe, they feel the atmosphere, and they are gonna learn more. Like for example, when someone goes to foreign language, foreign country, and start speaking their language there, they're gonna learn faster than someone who's studying in a group in their country. So I think experience teaches more.
Mhm. And so, do you think schools should focus more on giving children practical experiences rather than just like textbook analysis?
Yeah, I think so, because at the young age, children can learn a lot of things. They will be more flexible. They're are quick to learn, they're eager to learn, and by giving practical lessons, they are gonna learn a lot. In Uzbekistan, physical education lessons, many people, many young people, many students play football
I'm going to
because
hold you there. So
rather than
physical education I can understand, but what about things like science or mathematics? Do you think it's possible to give kids practical experiences in those subjects?
Yeah, they should give, but with caution. Like when they show the some like chemical reactions, they're gonna love. Like children are really keen on this kind of stuff, and they will they will learn more when they saw this and experience by themselves.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test. Awesome. So I'm gonna talk to you in a moment. First of all, I'm just going to speak to the chat and ask you to put the scores that you think the candidate deserves for this performance in the chat. I'll come back to the chat then in a while and see what others have said. So what band do you think this candidate deserves? But first, I'm going to ask you, Yosinbek, how do you feel about your performance in this test?
I think it wasn't the best that I can do, but yeah, it was kind of good.
Were there any topics that were kind of tricky for you? So you had in part one, you had you had your place where you live, traveling and laughing, and then in part two, you had a time when you tried something for the first time, and then in part two, connected to that, you had like trying new things, risk and fear, and learning through experience. Were any of those topics difficult, and can you think of any questions in particular that were tricky?
I think I can remember any questions, but um, now I feel like I made some mistakes with the word choice and with my pronunciation. I don't know exact words, but I made some pronunciation mistake. I mispronounced some words, and I could give you a better examples in part three.
I think your examples were really good in part three. I think it's something that people often struggle with, and it's a bit of advice that I often give people is like, cool, you made the point, now back it up with an example. I think you're not that type of candidate. I think your examples work really, really well.
Uh, And by the way, I mismanaged my time in part two, and the last bullet point I couldn't talk about it. Like the best thing I learned from my experience, but it's not. I think it's not a big deal, but still I could manage my time better and also could speak about it.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't a big deal. The most important thing is that you talk about a time when you tried something for the first time. That's the only thing you really have to do. But the cue cards are set up in a particular way that force you or encourage you to use particular type of language. So I've made this point many times before. The first three questions you get, like you should say what you tried, why you decided to try this thing, what it was like, those things those things are more factual, and say what you learned from this experience. That's the question that is a bit more subjective, it's a bit more personal, and it allows you greater freedom. So I think a decent strategy is to try to get through everything except the last question in the first minute, and then spend the whole of the second minute talking about what you learned from that experience. It's not the only strategy, and I'm certainly not saying it's definitely the best strategy, but I do think it's easier to manage time, and it's easier to give your talk a sense of flow and a sense of progress if you stick to the questions. The problems with not sticking to the questions and spontaneously putting bits of information out is that you can move forward and then you can move back. So you spoke about like how you tried playing chess and you learned the rules, you saw your friends, and then you played some games and you lost, but you didn't feel ashamed. And then you started talking, I think, about how you learned about how the pawns move. And it's like that seems like just slightly strange logical organization. I did feel like after about 1 minute 20 that you were freestyling, that you were just like out of your notes and adding bits of information. I think it's good that you kept speaking for 2 minutes, but for me it was, the organization was good up to about 1 minute 20, and then it kind of fell off. That's not terrible. It happens to people. You mentioned pronunciation. There is, one one obvious problem that you have with pronunciation, if you have classes, maybe your teachers even told you about it. Do you know what your biggest mistake is, or
Yeah.
what is it?
My teacher like told me I stressed the last like words of last like letters of the word, like my friend does maybe, and what else? Even I think I mispronounce even, like sometimes I said Evan. I think I didn't say in this test, but yeah, I have these mistakes.
Yeah, so the one that's very noticeable is what we call consonant clusters at the end of words. So if I have the word words, I can put my d and z together and create a words sound, words.
Mhm.
You seem to have difficulty doing this, so you add an extra syllable, you add an extra vowel sound. So instead of saying words, you say word is. Instead of saying jokes, you say joke is. Instead of saying friends, you say friend is. Instead of saying moves, you say move is. And this also happens with a D. Instead of saying seemed, you say seemed. So this was noticeable a lot in your speech. It was the only, there were, some small problems with the sound and the th sound. Those are quite normal. But pronunciation is that one area where I think, well, a lot of those words were mispronounced, but I do feel like it was, easy enough to understand what you were saying. At no point did I feel under stress, apart from when you said your name at the beginning. Many candidates do this with their name. You say, okay, what's your name? And say, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Please say your name slowly and clearly. Apart from that, that was the only problem I had understanding you. So I think for pronunciation, a harsh examiner might give might give 6 for pronunciation, but I think you might have just about enough for the 7 in there. Some people might not like, too many of those words being mispronounced. So if you want to make sure that you get the 7, I would definitely recommend doing some work on what we call consonant clusters. When two consonants come together, does or cuss, jokes, friends, things like this. Your fluency and coherence is definitely at 7. It might even be at 8. I love the way that you develop naturally. You're on topic. There's a lot to like about your development. Your grammar is accurate. There are some small slips, like word order, like you said, share with somebody something instead of share somebody with something. It's not a big mistake, but it is, a little bit noticeable. You use like I want to tell about instead of I want to talk about. That's kind of grammar, kind of vocab. But in like things like compared to was really good. You had no problem in part 2 using past simple and past continuous. There could have been a bit more variety, like maybe sequence of tenses or reported speech or maybe past perfect, some other bits of grammar that might have been useful for the range. But I think your accuracy was really, really good. I have you as band 7 for grammar, but a comfortable band 7. And I think for vocab also, there's a lot to like. Words like to be reluctant to do something, to be eager to do something. When you talked about video games, you didn't try to do too much. You just said that you like the graphics, which is topic-specific language, which is really good. And I definitely see justification for the 7 there too. So, I think it could be 8776, it could be 8777, but if your goal is to get a band 7, I think you are at that level right now. I don't think you are like super duper strong C1, but I do think that you are at that C1 level at the moment. Really good performance. I liked your exam strategy. I definitely didn't feel like I was speaking to like a candidate that was trying to show off language. I felt like I was speaking to a human that was responding, and I think that's really,
Thank
really
you.
good, because sometimes you get candidates who have like C2 level knowledge of English, but they try to do too much and then they end up getting a band 7. I think you are a natural band 7 candidate, but definitely work on that pronunciation, especially those finals, just to make sure that you get the 7. But I think, I've seen a few people in Uzbekistan a few candidates who got 6.5. I definitely think that you are higher than them. So I fully expect you to get that 7. If you got a 7.5 in the test, I wouldn't be super shocked. I could definitely imagine an examiner maybe awarding 8 for fluency and coherence, maybe awarding 8 for possibly for vocabulary. So if you got 7.5, I would not be surprised. If you get less than 7, I will be a little bit surprised. But do you have any questions about the comments, about the feedback, or any questions about anything else?
No, I don't have any.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for being a candidate. Really nice to meet you. We are connected on
Thank you for
Telegram. So
having me.
when you do your test for real and when you get your results, if you can, please let me know, because I like to keep track of the scores that the candidates get.
Okay, I will try.
Awesome. Well, good luck in the real test.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, so I'm going to go back into the chat just to see what some people are saying. Let's see if people have similar marks or different marks. Somebody says 6.5. Someone says 6.57. Someone says 6. Fluency coherence 6.0. No, it was above. Fluency and coherence for me was above 6.0. Darkstar Envy says 7776. That's definitely a justifiable mark. 6 for pronunciation, I can see possibly why. Some person says an 8. I don't think I don't think it's 8888. I think you would really struggle. You would really struggle, I think, to award this candidate 8 for pronunciation. And if I think the top mark the candidate can get for pronunciation is probably a 7 here. So to get that band 8, one other thing needs to be at a 9, and I don't see any parts of his speech at a 9. Certainly a very strong candidate. I have him, 7. I think this is an easy 6, says Ghostman. Yeah, Ghostman also says his pronunciation is horrible, and I will give you just a little warning, Ghostman. Please don't say things like this. You know, you can point to parts of his pronunciation that are more band 5 or band 6. You can point that out, but please don't say things like his pronunciation is horrible. His pronunciation isn't horrible. There are some limitations that he has with pronunciation, but there's just no need to say his pronunciation is horrible. It just, makes you look like a jerk, in my opinion. A few people saying 7776. A few people saying I don't know why, but it feels 6. Somebody says, what part are we practicing? Well, we're doing whole speaking tests. Mark Starr says, how can we be a candidate? And I will mention for the 50th time, if you would like to be a candidate on the live stream, you have to be in the Telegram channel. That's where I select candidates from. Now, the reason I can't select candidates from YouTube is that if I choose a candidate from YouTube, then how am I going to send you the link to join me? Tough old question, isn't it? So if you'd like to be a candidate, if you'd like to take part, you need to be in my Telegram channel. And I put a post. I'll put another post in there in a moment saying, if you would like to be a candidate, if you would like to be the next candidate, please reply to this message. And then a bunch of people put their name in, and then one candidate is selected at random. That's how it works. That's how the selection process goes. And we'll take just a couple of other questions. How to be confident. This is, again, sometimes I get like really, really strange questions like, how can I improve my grammar? It's like, study. How to be confident. It is not a Glyn problem, right? That you're not confident. That's a you problem. You have to work on yourself. I am not on a live stream here to tell you this is how you can be confident. Nobody can tell people universally what they can do to be confident. Certainly not an examiner or an English teacher. You have to work on that. Somebody says, when will you organize the next session? I don't know. I'm doing this session. Like, can you just let me do this session, please? Okay, I'm gonna put the next message into Telegram. Let's see. I hope the Telegram's not going absolutely crazy. Okay. 54 comments on the previous one. Who knows what's going on there? Okay, I'm going to type into the Telegram If you are watching the live stream right now and you'd like to be the next speaking candidate, please reply to this message with one response, e.g. me or interested. That's on the Telegram. I'm going to make that point again, not on the YouTube. It's on the Telegram. So I'm going to post that message right now. You may reply to this one and one candidate will be selected at random. I'm just going to let that go for about 45 seconds or a minute, and we'll see if there are any other comments worth responding to. Yeah. MD Ronnie says, yes, he is not the best overall. Nice. I mean, he was good. I think he was, to be C1, to get band 7 means you're very, very strong. I think he was a really strong candidate. Maybe not a band 9, but okay, fine. Darkstar Envy says, every time I am the first to comment, but alas. Yeah, Darkstar, I'm going to give you a very, very brief lesson in statistics here, right? If there are 23 people applying and one person is selected at random, being first or being last or being in the middle doesn't make any difference. It doesn't matter if you are the first person, right? So it's madness to say, but I was the first person to comment. It doesn't matter if you're the first person, the last person, the third person. Candidates are selected at random by a computer. I see how many candidates there are. Like, say, for example, there are 23. I put that into a random number generator, give me a number between 1 and 23. I close my eyes, I click on it a bunch of times, I open my eyes, and I see what number is selected. Being first or last doesn't make any difference. Assam Mohammed says, by the way, I did my test in February and got 7.5 overall. Your videos were very helpful. Cool. Pleased to see it. I'm pleased to hear it. 7.5 is an amazing performance. Really, really good. What did you get in the speaking part? Because, to get 7.5, most people kind of get 8 in the listening, maybe 7 in the reading, 7 in the speaking, 7 in the writing, something like this. They tend to do higher. They tend to get higher marks in the comprehension parts, the listening and the reading. Somebody says, hello, sir. I don't like being called sir. You can say hello, Glyn. I know some people think it's kind of polite behavior, call people sir. I feel uncomfortable when people call me sir. I made that point before. People often said, sorry, sir. Okay, cool. Nothing I can do. Somebody commented 4. I don't know why they commented 4, but they commented 4. Who knows? All right, let's have a look to see. First of all, to see if anyone's broken the rules by commenting multiple times. Let's see. Sorry. It's so tough to do this live stream and to keep track of everything. Okay, let's have a look at these comments. Interesting that we have more comments than viewers on YouTube, so I'm not sure how that works, but okay. Just making sure that there aren't candidates who've put their name forward more than once. Somebody with just a name as a dot wrote me in the Telegram. If your name is just a dot or a selection of dots or XYZ, you're not going to be selected, because I've had huge problems in the past with people doing that. One of the names with the dots has also put their name forward like 6 times, so I'm going to ban that person, so they're gone. Bye-bye. Okay, cool. It's always nice to get rid of the spammers. So yeah, if you are on Telegram, have a real name? I don't know. Okay. All right, so let's select one at random. I think that's enough time for people to put their names in. Okay, so we have 32 comments in total. I'm going to go to my random number generator. I'm going to put a number in between 1 and 30. I'm going to put 1 and 32. I'm going to hit generate a few times, close my eyes, stop pressing it, and the winning number is 10. So let's see who number 10 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have Aziza. Aziza is a candidate who was one of the candidates. So you can say thank you to Aziza that she's one of the candidates. I assume it's a she, Aziza. She's one of the candidates who won a speaking test before and then just didn't reply. And because of candidates like this, we stopped the free practice speaking tests, the arranged, organized ones, because so many candidates just didn't turn up for their speaking test. So Aziza is one of those people. Congratulations. But she has, this is a random process, so I will be fair and honor that system, and I will send her the link. And let's see if she joins this time. Hey, you can join me here. I am actually writing to you, she says. So Aziza, you've been selected for the speaking test. So I've sent you the link on Zoom. Feel free to come up, join, and I'll do your speaking test here live. So you'll choose randomly again. No, I've just chosen. That was the number 10. I follow the honor system that the random number generator is the one that knows best. Let's see, any other comments? Somebody says, how to connect to you. I want to improve my English level. I'm not here to improve people's English level. I give people evaluations of their speaking and their writing and help them to understand why they are at the level that they are at. It is the candidate's responsibility then to listen to that feedback and to find a strategy for themselves to make those improvements. When people ask, how can I contact you? This, again, shows to me that you're not a very serious person, because in every video I've ever made, I put my email address, I put my Twitter, although I don't use it, I put my Facebook. On every single video, I put all of that information. It's even on the screen that you are watching right now. So if you tell me that you want to get in contact with me, I don't see you as a serious person. Like, you can't read the screen? I don't know. Not sure what Aziz is up to. Let's check on Telegram. Let me give me 2 minutes to take my scarf. I'm gonna give about 45 seconds more, and if the candidate isn't here in 45 seconds, I'm gonna move to the next one. Remember, guys, right? I'm gonna make this point over and over again. If you put your name forward for the speaking test, it should mean that you are available. It shouldn't be you say, pick me, and then you are selected, and then you ask me to wait for you. That's not how this should work, because now I have to keep talking to the audience to make sure. Ghostman says, Glyn, I joined your channel in March, but never got the chance to have a speaking mock with you. Yeah, Ghostman, I'm going to give you another lesson in statistics. There is one Glyn, right? And there are 13,000 subscribers on my channel. Now, there are not 13,000 people who ask me for a speaking test, but there are, every time when I did these organized speaking tests, in most cases, it was about 50 to 60 people. So if you were not selected, then, I'm sorry, but I don't owe you the speaking test. It's nice that you're watching and that's cool, but I do this for free and I don't owe you something just because you've watched. You can get a speaking test for just £25, really not a lot of money. So if you want that in December and January, that price is £25. Anyway, Aziza is joining, so it'll be really nice to meet this candidate who didn't turn up for the test before. I do this for free. Hi, Aziza. I can hear the YouTube video in the background. Can you close or mute the YouTube video? Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Cool. Nice to meet you finally. How are you?
Yes, fine. What about you?
Do you have your scarf?
Yes.
That's important. What happened with the speaking test before? Because I see that you were selected to be a candidate on the channel before, and you won, and then you kind of disappeared. What happened?
At the time, I really wanted to take test, but I missed the hours. And 10 minutes before I write to you, but it was already expired.
Happens. All right. Can you tell us something about yourself? So, where are you from, and what are your plans connected to IELTS?
My name is Aziza. I'm from Uzbekistan, and now I'm graduation student at Uzbek State World Language University. And after my graduation, I need to enter master's degree, and they require C1 certificate.
Okay, so to do the masters, you need level of C1, C2?
Yes.
Okay, so is your goal just to get like 7 in IELTS, or do you have like a goal to get something higher?
7 is enough to me, but higher would be more effective.
And how are you preparing for this test?
I'm participating online and offline lessons, and I use ChatGPT as well.
Yeah, ChatGPT can be a huge help. It's not very good at, giving marks and giving feedback, but it
It
can.
doesn't replace real teacher.
Yeah, ChatGPT can be a very, very, very useful tool as a language learner for sure. I use it a lot with like Chinese and Russian and things like this. It helps me a lot with my language learning. All right, so you've probably been preparing for a while. What type of scores do you usually get in like the reading and the listening parts? Do you usually get C1 in those parts?
Usually I receive 8 or 7.5 from listening, but my reading is 6 or 6.5.
Mhm. So what makes you think that you will get your C1 certificate? If your scores are usually 6.5 in reading, listening, usually for the people who want C1, they usually want to get like at least 7.5 in listening, 7.5 in reading, because we know that the speaking score is probably going to be a bit lower and the writing is always lower with candidates across the world. Are you confident that you will get your band 7?
Yes, or I prepared again 3 months maybe because I have a time until the summer.
Okay. All right, so I'm sure you're familiar with the test. I won't repeat all of the details. I'll just remind you that in part 2, you will have 1 minute to prepare, so you can take notes. Do you have a pen and piece of paper with you?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Now, during part 2, you will see the topic. I won't share it on my screen, but you'll actually see the topic in the Zoom chat. It's not there at the moment, but when it comes to part 2, that's where I'll share it. So you'll find it in the Zoom chat. If it takes you a few moments to find it, that's absolutely fine. It happens from time to time. Yeah, but do you have any questions before we start our test?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, best of luck to you. Good evening. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My name is Aziza and my surname is Erkinova.
And what should I call you?
You can call me Aziza.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study?
Okay, currently I'm graduation student at Uzbek State World Language University, but I haven't got any work yet.
And what do you study? Or what did you study?
Well, my major is teaching, and during our academic year, we study a lot of methods, how to teach adults or teenagers or higher grade of students, and I think it would be effective in our future career.
And why did you decide to study teaching?
My mother was a teacher, also my grandmother was teacher, so I wanted to follow their footsteps and become a teacher as well.
And was there anything you found difficult about studying at this course?
Yes, when I entered the university, I found difficult because during school times we had teacher-centered lessons, not student-centered. But when it comes to universities, most lessons are student-centered, and you should conduct a lesson for your teenagers or other students. It was really challenging to me at first.
Let's talk about your free time now. What do you usually do in your free time?
Usually, I'm really interested in cooking, so in my free time, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube and then I try to eat in my real life.
And do you feel like you have enough free time?
I don't think so because I'm a university student and I have a lot of tasks there given my teacher, so I spend majority of time there. And other times I have also extra lessons. I participate in other offline lessons.
And do you prefer spending your free time alone or with other people?
I do both, but it usually depends on my mood. If I'm in a good mood, it is the best way spending my time with my friends. We can interact together or do something else. But when I'm depressed or I have a bad mood, I prefer to spend my time alone.
Mhm. And has the way that you spend your free time changed since you were younger?
Definitely yes, because when I was a child, I spent most of time in the streets with my friends. We play something or did another stuff together. But when it comes to at present time, I mostly study and prepare my university tasks until my lesson.
Mhm. Now let's talk about forgetting and remembering. Do you have a good memory?
I think I don't have a good memory because usually I forget a lot of numbers and name of people, which me really disappointing between them.
And what kinds of things do you sometimes forget?
Usually I forget people's name and their number. So usually I try to take notes on my phone or on my notebook, and then I try to remember this in the daily life.
And do you always remember your friends' and family's birthdays?
Yes, usually I take notification on my telephone, and when their birthday is comes, it reminds me. But otherwise, I can't remember their birthday or other important days.
And do you have a particular memory from childhood that makes you happy?
hmm Yes, in my childhood, I spent my most of time with my grandfather because all of other family members were at work. So we did a lot of stuff together. He usually prepared meal to me and made a lot of interesting conversation.
Okay, thank you. Now,
Mhm.
in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Mhm. I will now share the topic in the Zoom chat.
Mhm.
Can you see the topic?
Yes, I
Yep,
can see.
cool. I'd like you to describe an object you own that's important for you. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you'll have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. I have one habit, which is I wrote everyday situations in my notebook. So it's in my notebook is really valuable to me because from my school time, I created that notebook, and every single day at night wrote about my daily situations, and it gives me sometimes motivation, but sometimes somehow stress because when I remember past times and we spent with my family, I really enjoy read those times because it is something like a nostalgia, and you feel like you live in those past times. But when it comes to my hard times, maybe exam preparation or something, I studied without sleeping in the night, and it is somehow stressful for. So I don't wanna read those messages, but I think many people have those habits as well as my grandfather. So from my childhood, I learned that from him because usually in the evening time he read his past plans because in his childhood he also created this and wrote about a lot of stories, which is really important. And I dreamed that in the future, when I grow older and I have a children, I can also give my those notebooks, and they can collect it and create a one book. It's like a story of one person, and I think people have interest for reading other people's lives.
Okay, thank you. So you've been talking about this notebook that you have that's important for you. Let's move on now and talk about personal belongings. Why do people become emotionally attached to some objects?
Maybe they have a good phenomenon with this. Maybe in their childhood, their lovely person, maybe their father or mother, gave an object, and they keep those things in the end of their life.
And do you think people today value their personal belongings more than people in the past did?
Definitely yes, because we can see a lot of people whose parents passed away or something, an accident. So if they keep those items, it gives memorable days to them because when they watch or see those items, they can remember those lovely person every time.
And were things different in the past then? Do you think people in the past didn't value objects so much?
I don't think so because in the past people have a lot of free time and they spend their most time with their family members, and it's enough to them. But when it comes to present time, people spend their time in the work. Maybe they worked 20 hours in a day or 18 hours in a day. So they have limited time to spend with their family members or
Mhm.
friends.
And you mentioned this notebook that's important for you. What other kinds of objects are important to people?
Mm-hmm. Which is pictures. Usually, people keep their pictures and videos. Maybe at present time, technologies were developed, and they use their laptops to keep those pictures. But in the past, people printed out and take somewhere, and when if they wanted to remember those past actions, they can watch those pictures and remember all situations.
Mhm. Let's talk a little more about materialism and value now. Do people today put too much importance on their material possessions?
Yes, at present time, people really interested in material items. For example, they really wanna buy new house or new devices or new cars. For example, usually young people really love use iPhone, smartphone, and if new device is updated or introduced, they definitely buy regardless of their money. They maybe take credit or something, maybe they can take debt, but they definitely buy those new version of iPhone.
And what do you think will happen in the future? Do you think people will become more materialistic or less?
I think they continue doing so because day by day it's really popular among young people. But when it comes to elderly people, they appreciate the value of item and they use it more than 5 years or until it is broken or become useless.
And do you think parents have a responsibility to teach their children to be less materialistic?
Definitely yes. For example, for their young age, they can teach how valuable this item and use it until broken. But usually, parents themselves lack these skills or something like ability, and they don't want to teach it, and they do this action, and their children become imitate this as well in the future.
Is there anything we can do to make parents more knowledgeable about this?
Yes, for example, we can create something like a training or something and teach parents how to value those items because they earn money by themselves and they spend it for unnecessary items because they already have this item and updating it somehow unnecessary.
And who will pay for this training?
Maybe elderly people, parents, for example, if your parents 40 years old, their parents are 60 or 70 years old, and they have more expertise, and they can definitely create those trainings, and definitely their children follow their advices.
Thank you. That is the end of the test.
Mhm.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I'll congratulations on surviving the test. Well done. I'm just going to ask the chat to please leave your scores in the chat. What score do you think the candidate deserves for this performance? And what do you think were some of her biggest strengths and weaknesses? But let's go to you, Aziza. So, how did you feel about your performance during this test, and how did you feel about the types of questions that you got?
I think part three was more challenging because in some talks I repeat my answer because I didn't fully understand the question at first and then I understood it.
If you were having a discussion with somebody, like let's say you met somebody for the first time, so it's not like a close friend, but you're just meeting somebody for the first time, and if they ask you a question and you don't understand it, what would you do?
I try to keep speaking even I don't understand and then he or she repeat this question until taking my answer exactly.
Yeah, because if somebody asked me a question and I didn't understand it, I would ask them to explain what the question means. And you can
It's
definitely
so
do this in part three, right? In part one, it's an interview, so it's question, answer, question, answer. The examiner in part one can only really repeat the question. And if you have a difficulty, they'll move to the next one. In part three, it's supposed to be a two-way discussion. So it's supposed to be like we are having a discussion. Of course, the examiner will give you the time to express your ideas, and the examiner will not express so many of those of their own ideas. But if you don't understand something, you can ask, what do you mean by materialistic? Or so you can do that in part three. You shouldn't be afraid of this. You can ask the examiner to repeat. You can ask the examiner even to rephrase, and they do have the freedom to do that in part three. So you try to be like more of a human about it, because as humans, if somebody says like, "Oh, what time do you usually?" You say, "Sorry, what time do I usually what? What time do you usually go to bed? Oh, what time do I go to bed? Oh, I see." That's how we communicate in a social human way, and the exam kind of tries to reflect that and tries to copy that. So it is okay to ask the examiner that. What do you think are your biggest strengths as a speaker of English? Not just in the test, but in general.
I have ideas about every topic, but I struggle with some vocabulary and grammar, because sometimes I mixed grammars, past tense and present tense in one time, and I have like a vocabulary problem.
Okay. The question is about your strengths. What do you think are your strengths as a
Only
speaker?
fluency, I think.
Fluency. Yeah, I would
Yes.
I would say, like, I think vocab is probably your strongest point, actually. And I think with you, when you say that your fluency is strong, I understand what you mean, right? That you can speak quickly without hesitating, without correcting too much, and that's, that's a skill. However, I do feel like you're speaking too quickly, and this is a problem. The reason why it might happen, I can't say for sure because I'm not inside your head, but one reason why it might happen is that you're feeling nervous because it's a test. You don't know me. You're meeting me for the first time. Maybe you don't have much experience of speaking to foreigners or native speakers. Maybe you're worried about what people in the chat will say. And so very often when people feel nervous, they kind of speed up and they start speaking like this a lot more, and then it gets really
No,
difficult
it's
and they
not
kind
that
of
I'm
become,
nervous.
yeah. And the
In
reason
naturally, I speak very bad, even in Uzbek language as well.
that's cool. But what we need to understand is that when you
Mm.
speak very quickly, it can negatively affect a few things, mostly your fluency and coherence and your pronunciation. There is actually something written in the script, in the band descriptors about, rapid speech rate. It gets in the way of pronunciation because English is something that has like stress timing. So some words in a sentence will be stressed and some words will be unstressed. So I can replace words with just sounds. That's what English sounds like. That's the rhythm of English. But when you speak really quickly like this, then we kind of lose that rhythm, and it's really difficult to hear what sound. And it's like machine gun fire. I'm not saying that you're crazy, crazy, crazy fast, but the speed of your speech is fast enough that I think it will limit your pronunciation score to a 6, because I just can't hear enough evidence of sentence stress and intonation in there. You do have some mispronunciations too, like many candidates from Uzbekistan. You use words like learned instead of learned. A couple of other things. You don't pause also, and sometimes when you don't pause, it's difficult. Like, it puts a little bit of strain on the listener, that the listener really has to think, okay, now I need to really focus. I need to really listen to this candidate because I'm worried I'm going to miss something, and that's because you're speaking too quickly. And of course, if you speak quickly and I can't follow your idea, then this can make your speech incoherent, where I'm not sure always if your answer matches the question, because I'm paying so close attention, trying to understand what you're saying, but I can't follow all of your ideas, and it makes it a bit disorganized. So the most obvious tip that I would give you is, firstly, to try to slow down a little bit. Now, I'm speaking at, quite a slow speed, but not super slow. I don't think it's uncomfortable to listen to me speaking like this. I hope it's not uncomfortable. And I think that's what you should aim for. Even if you speak quickly in your first language and if you speak quickly in English, okay. But during the test, I would definitely recommend just slowing down a little bit. You might find also that your grammar will get better if you slow down a little bit, because, if you slow your speech, you might find, some of your mistakes. About your granddad, you said he read his notes, and I don't know if you're talking about the past or if you're talking about the present. If it's the present, he reads. If it's the past, he read. You say, I enjoy read. Instead of I enjoy reading, you said I love use, or people love use, instead of people love using. So sometimes you have a problem when we have like two verbs together in English. Maybe you know this grammar theme of like gerunds and infinitives. Sometimes we use to do, sometimes we use doing. Like, I want to do, I promise to do, I hope to do, I expect to do, but I enjoy doing, I don't mind doing, I suggest doing, I advise doing. About those gerunds and infinitives, it's not just that you get them wrong, but you often just avoid using them. And I think those basic mistakes will probably limit your grammar to a 6 as well. After part 1, I was thinking that you're probably like maybe 7, 7, 7, 6, but then after parts 2 and part 3, for me, your grammar score fell down and your fluency and coherence fell down. It was difficult to follow what you were saying exactly in part 2. Like in part 2, I want to hear like lots of signposting language, like first, da, 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 and I want it to be easy for me to follow through. And again, because of your fast speech, I don't know about the people in the chat. You mentioned it was your notebook, and I don't know if this notebook was handed down to you from your grandfather, maybe, but I couldn't fully understand that connection between the notebook and your grandfather and you. It wasn't fully coherent for me. So for me, fluency and coherence, you are a fluent speaker. There's no doubt that you're a fluent speaker, but the coherence is a problem because you speak quickly. So for me, that's a 6. Your grammar has quite a few basic mistakes. There's definitely some stuff to like about your grammar. I think your vocab is your strongest point. You know, you used words like, oh, to follow in their footsteps. Like my mum was a teacher. I want to follow in her footsteps. I thought that was really, really nice. Some expressions like I have a bad mood. Okay. I'm in a bad mood is a bit more natural than have a bad mood. You used the word nostalgia. You had a small pronunciation mistake, but you know, you said nostalgia instead of nostalgia, but it's good that you knew that word. Definitely a lot to like in your vocab. And I think your vocab is at that band 7 level. And then pronunciation, again, because you're so fast, because there's a strain and there's not enough stress timing, probably a 6. So for me, the final score I'm going to give is fluency and coherence 6, lexical resource 6, fluency and coherence 6, lexical resource 7, grammatical range and accuracy 6, and vocabulary 6. Overall, that would give you a score of 6.0. I would expect you to get 6.5 in the speaking test. I will be a little bit surprised if you get the 7, but it's definitely not impossible. Maybe I would say like maybe there's a 20%, 25% chance if you took the test in the near future that you'd get a 7. If you're taking the test in the summer and you have plenty of time to prepare and to improve your level of English in general and your communication skills in general, it's possible. Grammar is going to be a tricky thing for you because I think hopefully you can slow down and that will boost your fluency and coherence and pronunciation closer to the 7. Grammar is probably going to be the most difficult part for you to get that 7. Because can you avoid making those small mistakes? And if you have too many of them, it's going to become a problem. But I think you're a good speaker of English. I love how positive you are. Do people really work 20 hours a day?
Yeah.
Who works?
Sometimes, yes.
Who works 20 hours a day?
No, it's not every day. Maybe some days they work.
Wow. So what happened? They sleep for 4 hours. Wow.
For example, they can work 20 hours in a day, and the next day they can sleep during the day.
Okay. Okay, I'm just having a look in the chat to see what other people. Okay, many people kind of agree with me. 7.676. They give you a score of 6.5. I definitely think there could be justification to give you a 6.5. Yeah, so most people kind of agree that it's. Some people said 5.5, some people said 6, some people said 6.5. The chat isn't always reliable, but generally as a group they tend to get it right. So I think 6, maybe 6.5. Slow your speech down, improve some of those basic grammar mistakes, and maybe you'll get a higher mark. But I don't know, Aziza, do you have any questions for me? And sorry, at the beginning when you said you were going to get your scarf, I didn't realize it was your headscarf. I thought it was just cold and you were going outside, and I was thinking, she's getting her scarf? Like, I thought you'd be in a hat and a scarf and outside in the cold, so I couldn't understand it. Now I understand why you needed some time to get your headscarf. That's absolutely fine. But do you have any comments for me or any questions about anything?
Thank you for this speaking test, and I really wanted to take it with you because last time I missed it, and really I regret. So thank you, valuable feedback, and I will follow your feedback as well.
Awesome. Well, best of luck. And of course, watch this. If you have a teacher who's helping you one-on-one, feel free to share this live stream with them, or just copy the part that you have the speaking test, because your teacher will probably be able to give you some more feedback, and they can work on some things with you. But best of luck in your real test. And when you do take the test, even if it's in the summer, like 6 or 7 months from now, when you get your score, if you can, please let me know what score you get, because I always want to compare my candidate scores with their
Okay.
real marks. Thank you so much,
I will
Aziza.
definitely send you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, I'm going to joke to the chat to see what we have written here. I like her positive side and smile. Yeah, absolutely agree. There's a lot to be said. Of course, examiners don't judge you on your personality, but I definitely think she was very positive and enthusiastic, maybe even a little bit too much that she was speaking really quickly. She said it wasn't because she was nervous. She's just a fast speaker. That's fine, but you can't be so fast at speaking that it's difficult to follow your ideas. Oh, Olivia is in the chat. Hello from Cameroon, says Olivia. Olivia is a candidate I gave 8.5 to, and I think in the real test they gave her something much lower, which drove me crazy. It really drives me crazy how people, like Olivia is an L1 user of English. There's no way that she can get less than 8.5. Sometimes you get 8.5 because you not very familiar with the exam. Like I gave a speaking test to my older brother on my channel, and I gave him a score of 8.5 because he just messed part 2 up because he's just not familiar with what he needs to do. But yeah, Olivia is an amazing speaker, like better than me. I don't surprise if she get 5.5. I wouldn't be surprised if she got 5.5. Normally she can hit 6. Yeah, I agree. 6 is the mark that I gave her. I gave her a solid 6. Darkstar Envy says 7.676. Yeah, I can't award the 7 for fluency and coherence just because I found it difficult to follow. And if you're giving 7 for grammatical range and accuracy, to get C1, I would expect better control over gerunds and infinitives. Getting gerunds and infinitives wrong is fine, right? If you say, I enjoy to do something, okay. But if you say, I enjoy do, for me, that shows like a much stronger limitation. We should know, if you pick the wrong one, gerund or infinitive, fine, it happens. But you shouldn't not use any. Just noticing my chat's not updating anymore. The last message I got is she's so sweet. I'm just wondering if there's anyone left in the chat. Maybe sometimes my chat kind of doesn't update my side. So I'm just going to check to see if my chat is updating. Just one moment. I've clicked out and now I'm clicking back in. Let's see. Waiting for it to load. Darkstar Envy says I stand corrected. Okay. Not corrected, it's just we have a different point of view, I guess. It's okay if you feel like you can justify the 7, that's fine. I'm just explaining why I gave the mark that I gave. Let's close that down. Okay, commentator 136 says looking forward to getting that shot. Cool. All right, so I wonder how many views we have on the YouTube. If we have more than 20 views, I'll do a third test, but if it's dropped off, then I will stop. Let's have a look live. How many views do we have at the moment? Oh, we have 32 watching. So shall we do one more? Let me know in the chat if you want to do, if you think we should do one more. Oh, I sound like a streamer or a YouTuber. Okay, I'm going to put in the Telegram chat that I'm ready to do one more. People always ask me questions like sometimes during the speaking test I look in the chat and someone says like, have you ever given a speaking test to somebody face to face? And it's like, do you think I'm gonna stop the test and answer the question? I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I've given lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of tests face to face. The exams I work on now are done online, so I don't do them face to face anymore. But in the past, yeah, yeah, a lot. I like the ones. I like the ones face to face, and the ones that I really miss are the exams where you have two examiners, right? You have one interlocutor, the person who asks you the question, and then you have the one examiner in the back. And I really, really miss this because this is the one where with IELTS, you're playing the one role of asking the questions, trying to be a human and following what they're saying and trying to evaluate the speech at the same time makes it a bit trickier. So I really do prefer the exams where you have an interlocutor, somebody to ask the questions, and then an examiner at the back. And with these exams, the way these ones work is you kind of switch places. So you might do like a couple of tests where you're asking the questions and a couple of tests where you're examining. Those are my favorite type of tests to do face to face. Doing these ones online are fine because, you know, I record them and I get to watch the videos back so I can give more detailed feedback. But anyway, let's go to the chat. So we will do one more. What time is it now? Okay, 21:40, still not time for Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. So yeah, let's do one more. So let's see how much madness we get with this one. Damn it. So copy selected text. If you are watching the live stream right now and you'd like to be the next speaking candidate, please reply to this message with one response, for example, me or interested. I've now sent that. Lots of stuff going on in the chat. Somebody's even sent a voice message through. Not sure who that is and why, but okay. Let's have a look at the YouTube chat. Anything there? Just a bunch of yes, yes, yes. Somebody says go. Oh, I guess they're saying go. Once more, says Darkstar Envy. Cool. Did I put Darkstar Envy on timeout? There's some tools that you can put. You can put a user in timeout, which means you stop them from sending messages. I put somebody in timeout. I'm not sure who it was and why, but yeah. And Darkstar Envy says, "Hey, Joshua versus Jake is going to be easy. Jake's going to get destroyed." Yeah, it depends what's in the contract, I suppose. It really does. If anyone is going to watch this fight, it really does seem like a strange fight, having a YouTuber fight against a heavyweight. I never really respected Jake Paul for fighting so many, you know, non-boxers. My respect for that guy has gone up a lot because to face somebody like Anthony Joshua in a boxing match, you either have to be insane or you have to be incredibly courageous, or maybe both. So fair play. I'm not a big Jake Paul fan, but to take on that fight, incredible. Akbar says, do Indian examiners give lower scores? In my experience, not all the time, and it's really difficult to generalize about examiners, but I have mentioned before that one of the jobs I do is that I quality control other examiners, right? So we have a test, examiners give marks, and then I check the marks that the examiner gave, and I say, okay. And we usually, you know, sometimes you do this blindly, sometimes you don't do it blindly, sometimes you can see what the examiner's given, sometimes you can't. What I have found is that non-L1 examiners tend to be a bit more harsh. They tend to be quite strict with their marks, and I don't know why that is, but it's like sometimes if you see some of their justification, they say, oh, well, they made that grammar mistake, so they shouldn't get it. And it's like, yeah, that's not how we mark. You can't be that strict about things. So in my experience, the non-L1s tend to be quite strict. The only exception really I see is in Bangladesh, where sometimes candidates get scores of like 7 and I judge them to be like 5, and I don't know what's going on. Some people have written to me about some hidden special services that are available in some test centers in Bangladesh, which makes me cry. So I don't know really what's going on there, but who knows. But Indian examiners, I don't know, like you have some that are doves and some that are hawks, but in general, the non-L1, the non-natives, tend to be a little bit brutal with their marking. Somebody says from Kenya, I'm interested. Cool. I don't think I've had a candidate from Kenya. I think somebody from Kenya wrote to me before and I offered the speaking test when they were for free and they just didn't turn up or didn't reply. Happens a lot. Do examiners always re-listen speaking audio? No. The examiners never re-listen to the speaking audio in IELTS. They go in, they do it, as soon as you leave, they put the marks in and boom, it's done. Now, there is quality control, so with new examiners, somebody will listen to that audio and they will check the marks that they are given. And with examiners who regularly give inaccurate marks, they are checked more, and then some examiners who are reliable examiners, they are checked less. So no, IELTS examiners do not re-listen to the speaking audio. They do it all in real time because, have to save money. It's all about saving money. People were arrested in Bangladesh for selling official IELTS questions. Yes, I've seen quite a few of these news stories where people were arrested. There was a situation in Vietnam too where a bunch of people had IELTS certificates that were not real IELTS certificates, but they were, they looked good and people were using them. Najmuddin says, will you choose again? Yeah, there is an open call out on the Telegram channel right now for candidates. So yeah, that's there. So I'm going to check my Telegram. I'm going to see how many people have put their name forward, first of all. So there are 31 comments in there. Let's see if anyone's broken the golden rule, which is posting more than once. If they post twice, I'll just delete the message. If they post 5 times or 6 times, then I will ban them. There is someone there with like lots of dots in their name. Their name is just ... And they've put me. They won't be considered because people who do that tend to be cheaters. I'm not saying they definitely are, but that does happen. Let's see, how many do we have? Okay. All right, let's have a look and see who the next candidate is going to be. 31 comments in total. Any final candidates? Nope. Okay, let's put that number in there. 31. Let's randomly generate. I'm closing my eyes. And the number we have is 21. So let's do some nice counting. I always hate it when it's a high number because I have to count the messages, but okay. 1, 2, 3. 10. 10. The next one is Achiever. Now, this name stands out as being one that I've come across before. This person has definitely posted in the Telegram before, and I thought that I'd had some communication with this person before. Maybe I'd even banned this person before. Maybe. I don't know. I've banned so many people that I've lost count of them. Maybe I haven't banned Achiever before, but I'm going to write to Achiever and invite them onto the Telegram. Sorry, not onto the Telegram. I'm going to invite them onto the Zoom call. Usually at this point, that's when everybody usually disappears because it's like, well, I didn't get my free speaking test, so I'm going to disappear. But okay, you can join me here. I will answer any questions that you have after Achiever comes. So if you do have any questions about anything, probably best just to wait a while. And after the next test I'll do my best to answer some of them. In the meantime, I'm just going to take a look at the chat. Somebody says, guys, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Yeah, it's difficult to get people even to like videos. And I know you don't owe me any likes, but I'm really not friendly with the algorithm. A guy named Kerez messaged 4 times in the comments on Telegram. Did that happen on Telegram? Somebody's writing, my day has come, says Achiever. And then Achiever sent me a Zoom link. Sent me my Zoom link. Don't know why Achiever sent me my Zoom link, but okay, happens. Some people deleted their names after you said 21. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? When you announce anything, people will try anything. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I shouldn't even announce the number and yeah. Shachrio says, I liked many times Mr. Cool, you can call me Glyn. I don't need to be a Mr. or a Sir. But thank you for liking the videos. Really, really appreciate it. Is it better to take 2 to 3 seconds and pause and think of ideas? Omid, I'll answer that question at the end because Asadilo is here with us, hopefully. Let's see. Hello. Hi, can you hear me okay?
Good evening, and can you hear me well?
Yeah, but you're kind of freezing a little
Yes,
bit.
I can hear you.
Okay. Sometimes it might take a few moments for the connection to kind of settle down and work.
I guess now everything is okay.
So at the moment, there seems to be a bit of a delay. Now, what's causing this delay is likely an internet problem. So I'm just going to speak a little bit because sometimes when you're connected, like the internet might just settle in. I'm going to ask you a question. Are you using Wi-Fi? Are you using like mobile internet?
Yes, I'm using Wi-Fi right now, and it seems to work really well.
So I can tell you it doesn't. So we have a big delay at the moment. So when I ask a question, you think you're answering immediately, but we have a delay of about like 4 or 5 seconds. And most of your speech I can understand, but there are some points where it cuts out. So let's just try a couple of basic questions. Just answer the questions in 1 or 2 words. And I just want to check our latency, just to check our delay. What's your favorite color?
My color is black.
Okay. Guys in the chat, please let me know if you hear a delay, because I hear a huge delay. What's your favorite sport? So we will give Achiever, sorry, let's use his name, Asadilo. We will give him just a moment to see if the internet connection works. Somebody says the delay is surreal. Yeah, this happens sometimes. Candidates tell me that their internet connection is fine, but it's obviously not. And I know you don't always know if your connection is going to work, and sometimes the connection is perfectly fine, and then for 10 minutes it might disappear. It happens to me sometimes. It happens to everyone from time to time. But we will give the candidate, I don't know how long, 1 minute maybe, just to see if he can fix that. I'm just going to have a look at the chat. In part 3, should we answer academically, or is it fine to answer in part 1 vibe? I would say part 1 is generally a little bit less serious because you're talking about yourself and it has a bit more. If we think of register as a spectrum from formal from informal to formal, I would say most of the IELTS speaking test is in neutral, but part 1 tends to be in neutral informal, whereas part 3, because you're talking about more serious subjects, there tends to be, I wouldn't say you need to use academic language, but you might find yourself using some of those. But the style in general should be neutral-ish. Asadilo, I can see you moving again. Does that mean that you are working? You're back with us?
Yes, now I can hear you pretty clearly.
Okay, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to ask you a few questions. And again, I just want you to reply to those questions in just 1 or 2 words. I'm just going to count the delay. What city are you in at the moment?
In Samarkand right now.
And what country is Samarkand in?
Yes, Samarkand is situated in Uzbekistan.
Okay, I think we're okay. We do have a bit of a delay, just a small delay. But I think we're okay. Akmal says if his connection will not be fixed, if and will, can you take a mock from me? It would be fair, I guess, because 21st was me actually. No, candidates are selected at random. I don't say, it's not fair to say, oh, I feel bad for Akmal boy. Therefore, I'll give you a speaking test. That's not how it works. Put your name forward. You might be selected. You might not. If you're not selected and you really, 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 really want a mock test, then £25 for December and January. I think it's a super affordable price, but okay. Anyway, let's get back to Asadilo. Sorry to keep you waiting. You said you're from Samarkand. Tell us something about your IELTS life, your preparation. I've seen your name a few times on my Telegram channel before. Are you a long-time viewer?
Yes, I've been following your channel for a long time, and I've been trying to get this mock test. Finally, my day has arrived, and I'm quite into taking standardized tests, including IELTS, and I've taken the test multiple times.
It's strange when people tell me they've taken the test multiple times. Usually, to me, that means they're a teacher. So, are you an English teacher?
Yes, I work part-time.
Who do you teach? Who are your students?
I teach at one of the learning centers here, and I mostly teach IELTS and a little bit of general English too.
Are your students mostly then teenagers or are they adults?
Both actually, but mostly the students from foreign language universities.
Okay, I'm afraid I think your connection has kind of died again. So I'm not sure if this is going to work. I'm going to ask one more question and we'll see how it goes. Do you prefer teaching adults or do you prefer teaching teenagers? Yeah, your connection has died.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so this isn't obviously right. I'm sure you can understand that in order for this to work, I need to be able to see you and I need to be able to hear you. And unfortunately, at the moment, like sometimes your connection is okay, but then it disappears. Now you've disappeared, it seems.
I just turned off my camera and trying something.
Cool. I'll give you a minute and we'll see if you can fix it. If not, I guess we'll have to kick you. I don't want to kick you because it feels sad because you've been waiting all of this time, but at the same time, so Markstar Brutal. Oh, Markstar's the one I put in timeout. Says I think it's better to choose another candidate. Sorry, of course. Yeah, probably. Omid says he can't hear anything or couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, maybe then it's high time. Yes, I guess I'm going to get kicked. I don't know why, but
yeah, I don't know why either, but yeah, I guess I will have to ask you. Unfortunately, Achiever, I'll have to ask you to leave. Sorry.
yes, not a problem. Thanks, at least.
Well, best of luck to you, brother. I'm sorry. All right, so I'm going to choose another one. I'm not going to say the number this time because some people were deleting things and that might affect the score. And then someone else said I was supposed to be number 21, really. Yeah, people, that was me. Some people deleted them. No, Akmal boy, stop it. Okay. Let's have another look. Let's just pick one at random. Anyone putting multiple messages in there? Okay, the new winner selected is Nodira Kolbekova. Hey, you can join me here. So I've sent you a message, Nodira, with the with the link to Zoom. We'll give Nadira a few minutes to, or not a few minutes, but we'll give her. Oh, she says she's ready. Cool. So hopefully she'll join immediately. Shahrior says interested. He's one of those people who always writes like super late. Like he always writes after. There are some candidates like that. Even when I was doing the free tests before, there was one candidate who always, every time I posted like this is the winner, they always posted afterwards saying that they were interested. I'm not sure. Yeah, Sadilo's in the chat says everything seems to be working flawlessly. Trust me, you can watch the live stream back later and you'll see that it wasn't working flawlessly. And I know it sucks, but it's like there's not really anything I can do, because if I can't hear your answers, we can't have the test. Ali says, I'm interested, mister. I hope you are not Alicia, who I gave the speaking test to before, who promised to post. There was a guy, Alicia Pro or something, an Uzbek teacher and telegrammer, and we had an agreement that, okay, I would give him a free speaking test if he promised to post a link to the speaking test on his Telegram channel. I don't think he was a big telegrammer. He had like 1,000 subscribers or something. But when he got the score that he didn't want, he then refused to share it with his group. Few instances like that. I think it's happened like 3 times now with telegrammers from Uzbekistan, teachers who want to show that their language is so good. And, sometimes they get scores of 7, which is absolutely fine. But then they say, can you just give me 8 or 8.5 because I want my viewers to think that I have 8.5? No. Okay, so... Oh. Jasurbek has entered the waiting room? Is that you, Nadira, or is it somebody else? Let's see who this Jasurbek is.
A message, Nadira, with the...
Hi, Jasurbek. Can you hear me?
A few minutes to talk, not a few minutes, but we'll give her...
I'm sorry, it's just that my YouTube is on.
Hopefully she'll
Yeah,
join
please turn your YouTube off.
Yeah, so it is.
Are you Nadira?
No, that's actually my sibling. So it's her profile, and I normally use it when I'm at work because I leave my phone to my little brothers.
Did you put your name in too?
I just said me. I don't necessarily put my name because I don't know.
I just want to make sure you didn't apply twice.
I don't think I did.
So did you apply from your Telegram too, or just from your siblings?
No, for my siblings.
Why? Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. Okay, cool. Thank you for being a candidate. Firstly, can you just tell us something about yourself? I guess from the name that you're from Uzbekistan. What are you doing in terms of your IELTS?
Okay. My full name is Jaspervik Drive, and I've been living in Uzbekistan since I was born. And I'm working as an IELTS instructor. I've been working in this position for maybe 3 years. Yeah, almost 3 years. And I have a degree in economics. I graduated 2 years ago. Now I'm just, trying to work on my career and get better at things that I'm supposed to be better, like teaching.
I'm looking in the chat and I see something called Jassur's Realm. Is that your channel?
Jassur's Realm. So there's a friend of mine, Jassur, but I don't know whether it's his or not.
It's not you?
Just a second, because there are 2 channels. One is Jassur, the other is Jassur's Realm. If it's his,
Because some people in the chat are saying that you applied twice. You applied once through your own.
It might be my little brother, but if it's him, I'm gonna call him then. We're gonna have some nice talk because he's not supposed to use my Telegram. I understand it's my phone, but come on, some privacy. Yeah, it was my channel. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna fix that.
So you applied multiple times?
Technically, yes. It wasn't me though. It was my little brother. But anyway, I'm gonna fix that. So we can do this. We can play it fair. We can choose another candidate. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, okay. I guess I don't have time to go through and find another candidate, so I guess we'll go through. People in the chat, I think they're noticeably like a bit annoyed, and I just want to say that this is the reason why a lot of the free tests stopped, is because people were like cheating the system. And I think, you know, I come on and I do this for free with people, and I hope that people will be fair and put in one application. And when people put in multiple applications, it's not fair to those people who put in one application. Do you understand that like basic idea that if
Yes, I got it. I got this. That's why I'm saying we can play it fair. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So I'm not gonna be offended or something.
Yeah, I think in the interest of fairness, I think it's probably better to kick you. I do apologize about that, but yeah, we
It
just
happens.
can't do
It
it.
happens.
All right. See ya. Okay, I think I'm gonna end it there, guys, because time is going on and it's just gonna take too much time to find another candidate and go through. Again, it drives me crazy that people see this. You know, there was a story, I think, in the Netherlands recently about like a farmstead that puts food out, and right, people can, if people need food, they can go there and they can pay the money and nobody watches. And somebody went in and thought like, oh, that's free food, and they just stole it all. And that story kind of just sums up why doing things for free or doing things to try to help people, sometimes it drives you crazy that people would cheat. And it's really like, it hurts the people who play fair, the people who put in one application, because they are not likely to get selected. Only the cheaters are likely to get selected. Now, Jasselbeck, I don't know for sure if this was his strategy or if different people put their names in, but when you win and you win on someone else's, name, it's like, yeah, it's just not cool, guys. And it's the reason why I stopped giving these free speaking tests, or one of the reasons why. So please, I beg you, please don't do this in the live streams, because if this happens again in the live streams, unfortunately, it's going to kill this opportunity too, because, you know, there's one side of people in the chat who are like, oh, it's nice, he was okay and he did not persist. Yeah, that's fine. But then there's another side of other people who are saying this is really sus, this is not fair, he applied multiple times. And this is the situation that I try to avoid. I don't want to get into like who is cheating, who is not cheating, if something is fair, if something is not fair. All I want to do is have a steady stream of candidates who are selected randomly, who can have their mock IELTS speaking test and get some feedback. So remember, if you cheat, maybe, you know, if you cheat, probably you're not a very nice person and you don't care about other people. But just to remind you, if you cheat, you're really spoiling a free opportunity that many, 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 many people want and some people need. And it's really difficult to get this stuff. I know a few people who tried doing something similar by giving like free IELTS speaking tests, and they stopped because they had similar experiences, unfortunately. I will just see if there are any questions, any final things. No final questions in the chat. So yeah, unfortunate to end on that note. I was hoping to get through 3, but again, when there are connection problems or selection problems, it does slow it down. So sometimes I can only do 2, but I was really hoping to do 3 today, but sorry about that. Yeah, I'll next week, I have a lot on next week. Maybe I was thinking sometime over the new year, as a kind of a thank you to the subscribers, that I would do some I would do some marathon stream, like where I would stream for like 5 hours and try to get through a bunch of tests. So maybe I'll try to do that over the new year at some point. Omid says, my question, you forgot about taking 2 to 3 minutes pause. I think you mean 2 to 3 seconds pause. Yes. This thing is called latency, right? Latency is the gap between the end of the question and the start of the answer. Now, if you regularly have long gaps, this can be an indication that you struggle with fluency, but it is perfectly natural to take a moment to think about what you want to say. That's okay. The examiner has the decision to make about the pauses. Are the pauses content related or are they language related? Language related pauses tend to happen mid sentence. And if you look at the IELTS band descriptors for fluency and coherence band 7, you will see that the hesitations are often mid sentence and they are to find language. So pausing a little bit to think of your ideas is absolutely fine. I think people lack something called intentionality, which is speaking with an intention, speaking with a specific idea and a meaning, right? So if you have like a part 3 question, like, for example, how has tourism changed in recent years? Some people who speak without intentionality will speak really quickly and they will answer the question immediately. They'll say, I think tourism has changed. Tourism has changed a lot over the last few years because first of all, we have, and you can see as they're speaking, they're trying to find their idea. I think tourism has changed a lot and tourism because now we have the internet and a lot of people use ChatGPT and social media network sites and things like this, and so they can find prices and they're always looking for budget airlines and they can try to find cheap prices, and this can sometimes get in the way of coherence. And speaking with intentionality, if the question is how has tourism changed in recent times, you say, I think it has changed a lot. I think one thing where it's changed clearly is like international travel. People are traveling abroad more and more nowadays. In the past, it was only like the rich who could really afford to do that. But because of things like budget airlines and websites like booking.com, we have seen prices coming down. I mean, I wouldn't say this is a recent change. I know even like 20, 30 years ago, cheap package holidays were a thing. But, you know, if I just look at my community, for example, my social circle, I see people traveling more and more and traveling to more like exotic places too. Like they don't go to Spain and things like this anymore. Some of them go further afield. Like I know a few people who went to Cambodia. Right, that's speaking with intentionality. So yeah, taking a moment to think about your answer is absolutely fine. Somebody asks, do we need to get a minimum 7777 to achieve overall 7, or one of the module has 6 still, we can get 7? Strange phrasing, but I think I know what you mean. Yeah, to get 7, there are a couple of ways of getting 7. The easiest way is getting 7777, or you can get 8776. Anything else is a bit unlikely. If you get 7776, that's 6.5. In the speaking and the writing, 7776 is 6.5. I know that when you search Google, you'll find something that says that IELTS scores round up. So from 6.75, that will round up to a 7. That happens in the overall score between reading, writing, listening, and speaking. If your score is 6.75 overall, it rounds up to 7. But in the speaking part, 7777 is a 6.5, 7776 is a 6.5, not a 7. And this is why it is so difficult to get the 9, because 9998 gives you an 8.5. To get that band 9, you need perfect 9s. Really, really tricky. Somebody says, do you choose candidates like this for writing? Yeah, check my channel. I do writing. It's been a while since I've done writing. I found with writing, one of the reasons why I've stopped doing writing checks is because you see like the same names appear when I put out a call for writing. Usually you get like 10, 15 responses, and all of the essays look very templatey. They all look very similar. They're all like really high marks too. They're all like 8.5, 8.0. It seems to be like that only the teachers who follow me do the writing, and most people just don't do the writing. And it's like when you do writing checking 8.5, 8.5, 8.5 over and over again, I think it loses value because most people are at that like band 6 with writing. And I think the more meaningful feedback comes from those band 6s. Task response in part 2 is always the part that people get wrong. People just don't know what it means to present and support an argument. It's an academic skill. Yeah, and I think some people use templates too much. I don't like, some of the guidance out there on writing. I'm not a huge fan of. Even I was looking at the IELTS Liz website now. I'm a huge I have huge respect for IELTS Liz. If you're familiar with her work, I think she's a really, really positive presence in the IELTS community. But I was even looking at her guidance on writing, and I felt like I don't love it. I don't love the way that the introductions look there. But yeah, there's a lot of odd guidance out there on writing. And it's important to note that IELTS doesn't own essay writing, right? And examiners are not given like super strict guidance on what a perfect essay should look like. They're just given training on how to evaluate and, following. I've made the point before, if you want to learn how to write an IELTS Part 2, the best thing you can do is learn the skill of essay writing and even forget about IELTS. Forget about like writing an IELTS essay and just learn how to write an essay. Yeah. The worst part is nobody says what to write in writing. Not sure. Is using a template good or bad for speed? Using a template is horribly bad. Horribly, horribly, horribly bad. The people design questions to get you out of templates, and you might have noticed that the recent writing questions, there's been kind of an increase in like the 2 direct question essays. And part of the reason for that is that I think that people are using templates over and over again. And so, yeah, they're trying to get the candidates off script because they know so many people are trying to hack the language. Unfortunately, ones who really appreciate your efforts and don't cheat are usually unlucky like me. I know, that's the saddest thing about it, isn't it? That's always the saddest thing about injustice in every field. The cheaters get the benefits and the people who are honest get nothing. And it's brutal. It's awful. It's bad. Yeah. People are usually really nice one-on-one. You meet people one-on-one and they're very, very nice. And then you get a group of 100 people and suddenly, you think, "Eeh." But yeah, one thing to mention, Shahriar, is you're not the only one. There are lots of people, who take part in this. I meant nobody can tell you how to correctly write in writing. Teachers also seem confused. Yeah, there is no, correct. I hate this idea of like one correct way and all of the other ways are incorrect. I think IELTS Advantage falls into this category where they are selling you an idea that they know the truth and everyone else is an idiot and everyone else is a liar and everyone else is a charlatan, but they have the secret ingredient sauce. And if you give them $400, you can learn the secret ingredient sauce to get a band 9. It's never like that. It's never ever like that. Bakhtir says, what do you think is a shadowing technique help us to improve accent and pronunciation? I think grammar is probably the thing that you should focus on first. Grammar and vocab will always be the foundation of a language learner. And just looking at the phrasing of your sentence, what do you think is a shadowing technique help us to improve? It's difficult to read in terms of grammar. As for shadowing, it works for some people, it doesn't work for others. I like shadowing. I think it's a good way to learn. But I do think if you're the type of person who does like acting or improv or stand-up or something like this, you benefit from that type of stuff. Some people really don't like shadowing. Learning pronunciation is a tricky thing. Some people even say that, there's you should do no analysis and you should just practice and listen and learn it subconsciously. Other people think that, you should sit down and think about all of the rising and falling tones and think about the catenation and learn about accommodation and assimilation and all of those other aspects of connected speech. So yeah, it's what works for you. I think shadowing is useful. Not everybody does. I wanted to know, what do examiners pay more attention on, trustworthiness of answers rather than the way of explaining or delivering speech? Again, you have a huge problem with communicative achievement there. I don't know what you're asking. I wanted to know that, do examiners pay more attention on trustworthiness of answers? Your answers don't need to be trustworthy, they just need to make sense. Sometimes if you lie or make up or invent details, the problem with this is that, if you're telling a story and you make up details, you might have some plot holes, you might have some inconsistencies that don't make sense, and that can affect the coherence sometimes, because like, hold on, you said you were with your sister and now you're saying you were with your brother. Well, which one was it? The answers don't need to be trustworthy, they just need to make sense, and they need to be on topic, and they need to be explained. Lots of questions about writing here. Can we write an essay of approximately 370 words? I've made a video about word count. I think 370 words are too many. For me, the golden zone is 280 to 300 words. And body 1, body 2, body 3. I don't like 3 body paragraphs usually. I usually like 2 or 4 body paragraphs. There are some cases where maybe 3 is acceptable. But again, the IELTS examiners are not given instructions on how many paragraphs should be used. It's just, is the paragraphing appropriate? Right? Is the paragraphing appropriate? If they're saying write at least 250 words, reasonably, writing 300 words is fine. Writing 500 words, it's just a little bit insane. 370 words is a little bit high, but it's fine. There is no maximum word limit, so you can write as many words as you want, but in terms of timing and in terms of what you need and what the realistic expectations of the task are, I think 370 is a little high. Is there a way I could sign up for a speaking test? It's fine if you can't do that. So in the past, we used to have speaking tests where, they were organized. I used to announce on a Sunday 3 winners, and then we would arrange the day and the time of the speaking test. And about half of the candidates just didn't come to the speaking test. So I stopped that. And then we had okay, who wants a speaking test right now? And then, okay, you are the winner, it's your speaking test. And then people said, oh, I'm busy, I don't want the speaking test now, or I'm at work, I can't right now, can we do it later? So we had to stop those, and now we do them on the live stream. So the free speaking tests only happen on the live stream. I will remind you, for the months of December and January, the speaking tests cost just £25. For that, you get the speaking test and you get a whole feedback video. I know £25 might be a lot of money for some people, but I think it's a very affordable price. And certainly in February, those prices are going to go back up, unfortunately, because even in the month of December, I've given, I think, something like 10 paid speaking tests, and 10 is too much in a month. Or maybe even more. If you check my channel, I think it's been like 10 already, and I think I've got like another 4 lined up. So I don't want to do something like 15, 16 speaking tests per month. It's too much for me. It's really too much. I'm trying to find that golden middle. So yeah, if you really, really, really want a speaking test, you can get one for £25. You can buy one directly from my website. Links in the description, links on the video right there. If you can't afford £25, then yeah, you just have to wait and hope that you get lucky in the live stream. Oh, I love questions like these. I have 2 friends. I haven't read the last question. Oh, let's go to the question before. Sorry. What are your thoughts on Indian examiners? They underestimate candidates. Yeah, I mentioned before, not just Indians, but L2 examiners, in my experience, on the whole, tend to be a little bit stricter than the L1 examiners, but I will say they all go through the same training, they go through the same standardization, they have to prove that they can mark accurately before they get the job of being an IELTS examiner. However, what often happens is, over time, people become, either more generous or stricter, but they do have to go through standardization training again. When I'm examining on marking sessions, I have to go through standardization like every 6 months. I have to do the same training again. And it's like, why do I have to do this training? Why? And the reason why is because I have to prove that I can still do this job. I have to prove that I haven't gone too far away, that I haven't become too generous, I haven't become too harsh. So, Indian examiners may slightly be a bit more strict, but they are pretty reliable. Like all IELTS examiners should be reliable to give marks. Let's get back to that I have two friends questions. I love questions like this. I have two friends and both of them get IELTS, and one give me advice that if you have strong confidence, you will get higher band. The other one says you shouldn't look at the examiner. They speaking 7.5. I wouldn't take the advice seriously. Of course, if you're confident, then you tend to be more communicative in general, not always. But being confident can make you a good communicator, which can improve your score for fluency and coherence, for sure. If you're introverted, you probably want to give fewer details, perhaps. So there can be a link between being confident and being sociable and being communicative. But confidence by itself is not going to get you a good mark. Not looking at the examiner or looking at the examiner by itself is not going to give you a good mark. The examiner will judge your English based on your fluency and coherence, your grammar, your vocab, and your pronunciation. And that's it. And that's it. And that's it. Nahian Shabab says, I speak less clearly when talking normally than when speaking softly. How can I fix it? I'm not the fixer. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a language mechanic. You have to fix it, right? I don't know who you think I am, that you think I'm going to say something and you're going to go, that's what I should do. I would say stop relying on people on YouTube to fix personal mistakes. You know yourself. If you speak less clearly, why do you speak less clearly? Ask yourself that question. Than when speaking softly, less clearly when talking normally than when speaking softly. I don't know what that means. Are you talking about your phonology? Are there individual sounds that you're missing? I'm not sure. But ultimately, you are the one that knows yourself. And if you have a problem, like any problem, first of all, you need to diagnose it. What is the problem? You need to understand the causes. What's causing that problem? Once you understand what's causing that problem, you need to think, well, what can I do to fix it? Are there short-term fixes? Are there medium-term fixes? What can I fix now? What's going to take more time? You have to diagnose and troubleshoot and fix those problems for yourself. Of course, if you get a teacher, great. Teachers can give you meaningful feedback. A few questions rolling in here. Marson says, how can we write 2 essays within the given time? You don't need to write 2 essays. You write one report where you give a summary of information, and then you write the essay in part 2. The time does not feel sufficient for me. Do you have any suggestions? Well, the time is sufficient for someone who is at that level of English, right? So if you are at a B2 level, you'll be able to write those B2 essays in that time. If you're not at that level, you won't, right? The foreign languages, or the second languages that I know, right? I have English is my first language. My other first language is Welsh. I don't speak Welsh much anymore, so I've forgotten a lot of it. I also have Russian, and I speak Russian at about C1 level, maybe B2, C1. And I also studied French at school, and I know a little bit of Chinese. Now, if I had to write an essay in Russian, I could write an essay in Russian in 40 minutes. Why? Because my language level in Russian is B2, C1. If I had to write an essay in French, it would take me a lot longer. Why? Because I don't know French that well, and I would have to think a lot more about what I'm going to do. So it is enough time, and if your language is at that level, there is enough time. And again, I would say if you have a teacher, if I had a student who had that, I would go through it. I would parallel write write an essay with him or her, right? And I would plan, and I would give strict time limits, and I would find the parts where the student was failing. What's going wrong? Is it difficult for them to make their plan in 5 minutes? Is that the problem? Is it difficult for them to write their introduction in, 3 minutes? Is it difficult for them to write their body paragraphs in 10 minutes? Those are the things I would want to know about my student. If it's a problem with ideas, then we work on how we brainstorm faster. If it's a problem with writing an introduction, then we analyze an introduction and what that looks like and how to do that faster. So if you say that it's not enough time for you, I can't give you any meaningful advice without knowing the exact nature of the problem. It's like if I'm a doctor and you say, I have pain in my leg, do you have any advice? I say, well, I don't know what's causing the pain. I don't know if it's a pain from injury. I don't know if it's a pain from like arthritis or something like this. Is it in your foot? Is it in your knee? A teacher, if you have a teacher, they can hopefully diagnose the problem and work on it with you. Okay. Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. I'm okay. Again, people ask me so, and unfortunately, it shows me that you're not a very serious student when you say how to get more fluent on your own. I want to improve my fluency and coherence. It is madness for me to think that someone can come to a live stream and ask an examiner, how can I become more fluent in a language? And to expect a meaningful answer, it's madness. You need to understand. You need to understand where you are with fluency and coherence. You need to understand what your weaknesses are with fluency and coherence. And you need to figure out which of those weaknesses are easy to improve and which ones are difficult to improve. And the ones that are easy to improve, you do them in the short term. And the ones that are difficult to improve, you do them over time. But you need to have a strategy. I'm not here to give those strategies. I can't give the strategies without understanding what's stopping you with fluency and coherence. In computer-based tests, writing is evaluated by AI or human. AI cannot evaluate writing, no matter what anyone tells you. Most people, including me, are curious about the changes that are going to take place in IELTS test. There are no, as far as I know, this is an administrative question. It's not really of much interest to me. No planned changes, no official changes, certainly in the writing and in the speaking. The test, the script writers want to get you off script. So you might see, in the speaking, you might see slightly stranger questions like mirrors. Do you like looking in mirrors? Pencils. Have you ever given somebody a pencil as a gift? Because they know that you've prepared for movies and you've prepared for music. So you might see this in part 1. But apart from that, there aren't going to be any other meaningful changes, at least not that I know of. Again, another very, very unserious question. Can we reach band 6 to 7 in writing in a month? Is it possible? The answer is it depends. In many cases, candidates fail to get the band 7 because their task response is awful. They don't answer the question. If you have a problem where you don't answer the question, that's an easy fix. If you have a problem where you don't use any paragraphs, that's an easy fix. However, if the thing that's stopping you from getting a band 7 is your grammatical accuracy, that isn't going to be fixed in a month. You're not going to jump, you're not going to jump from 6 to 7 in grammar in a month, in my opinion. So it depends what's holding you back. It really does. I can't say if it's possible or not possible. Some people have done it. I'm doing my IELTS exam tomorrow. Any tips? Yeah, sleep, eat. Probably for the reading part, I wouldn't be able to do the reading part without any coffee. I get really bored doing the reading. Caffeine before reading. That's my tip. For the speaking part, try to understand that there's a human sitting in front of you. You're not there to just list off as many like fixed expressions as possible. Try to enjoy it if you can. Try to engage with the examiner. But yeah, forget about like impressing the examiner. I used to, when I, long time ago, before I was an examiner, I used to teach my students things like, oh, when the examiner asks you your name, don't just say, my name is Glyn. Say, my name is Glyn and I was named after my uncle, because, you know, that's going to be a little bit more impressive. Now I would say, no, don't do that. Everyone's doing that. Keep it simple. If you can, keep your ideas simple. Let do speaking mock. Nope. Hello, Mr. James. How are you? Hello, Shaka Life. As I remember, Shaka Life, you're stuck on 8.5 and you're really trying to get to that 9. Hope you got there. And now I see a desperate guy who took the test 30 times. Yeah, I think when you take the test over and over and over again, you live in this IELTS bubble and your whole world becomes IELTS. And I think that makes, in many cases, that makes your IELTS speaking, or that makes your speaking performance worse, not better, because you get so obsessed over those tiny details. And I think, you know, the best thing to do is to forget about IELTS, to go out into the world, use your English, put yourself under pressure, enjoy things in English, and then come back to IELTS with a fresh look, doing the test over and over and over and over again. You know, sometimes you might think, well, the stars will align, I'll get the right set of questions with the right examiner. But if you're stuck on 8.5 and you've done the test like 30 times, probably doing it 31 maybe is not going to make a big difference. Okay, I agree, because my teacher never got below 8 in speaking part, and last time when the examiner was L2, he got 7.5. Yeah, I mean, fluctuation of 0.5 marks is absolutely normal. You know, 7.5, 8, 8.5. It is difficult to judge exactly a person's language speaking skills in 11 to 14 minutes. It is tough to do that. You know, your teachers will know your language level much better than any examiner will. The examiner just measures your performance in 11 to 14 minutes. It's possible your teacher was having a bad day. It's possible that the examiner was a little bit strict. Who knows? Without seeing the test for myself, I can't make any inference. That was a perfect feedback for 8 and 8.5 holders. Not sure what was perfect feedback, but okay. Okay, I think then I'm going to end it there. So I'm sorry that there wasn't a third candidate. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes sometimes. I will keep you informed of more live streams coming up, but I will beg you, and again, please be a witness to this. I will beg you to treat this just with a little bit of respect. And by that, I mean, please don't apply from multiple accounts, right? If you have like 5 accounts on Telegram because you think, oh, it will increase my chance, keep in mind that if you're found to be cheating, I'm going to be disappointed, and then I'm going to think, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore for free because people keep cheating and I don't want to reward cheaters. So keep in mind that if you cheat, you are not just spoiling it for yourself, but you're also spoiling it for everyone. I think I would like to think that we all agree that it's nice to have some things for free, right? I think we can all agree on that. It's nice in life to have some things for free. Everyone is asking us, like, pay for this speaking test, pay for this writing check, buy my course, buy me a coffee, donate here. Everyone's asking for our money all the time for everything. It's nice to have things for free. Please don't spoil it for everyone by trying to exploit and take advantage of it. I know I sound annoying, but, you know, it's nice to have things for free. Don't spoil it. Live scammer caught. No, he's not a scammer. It's just probably someone that's trying to increase their chances, but whatever. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for your support. Nice to see so many people in the chat today. Really cool. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your engagement. For those who keep applying, I hope you get the chance in the future. But remember, there's only one Glyn, and I only have time for 2 or 3 speaking tests. If everyone's connection is really good, maybe we can get 4. But, что делать? What can we do? Oh, there is one more question. I'll take these last 2. Friends also said that you can know your speaking band from examiner's last sentence, like when they say well done or great. No, that's nonsense. Ignore it. Take all of that information, put it into a ball, and put it in the bin. And then finally, Shahriar says, do thinking upcoming changes in IELTS test will influence on our scores? No, I don't think there are any upcoming changes. We got used to the conventional system. I don't know about any changes that are coming up. I always put myself out there as being an English expert, not an IELTS expert. I see myself as an English examiner, as a linguist and as an English teacher and as someone who can look at the IELTS band descriptors and can award marks accurately based on those descriptors because I work as an examiner. Now, when it comes to changes in the IELTS exam, like what is Cambridge Assessment planning to do, or what are the standard, what is standard protocol at IDP or British Council? I don't know any of that stuff. I'm on the outside of that stuff. It's not my business. It's not my area of interest at all. Yeah, I know nothing about that. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all for your support. I wish you a wonderful evening. And if you are watching Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua tonight, hope you enjoy it. I hope it's not fake. Will. Anyway, more videos from me coming soon. But for now, bye-bye.